Very good morning, dear children. Dear children, today we are going to start our history chapter 5, rulers and buildings. So, children, just look at figure 1. What is it? It is Qutub Minar. It shows the first balcony of the Qutub Minar, and it was constructed by Qutbuddin Aibak in 1199, children. When you will notice the patterns that are created under the balcony by the small arcs and geometrical designs you are going to see. Just see the balcony, the outside area of the Qutub Minar, and you will just see arcs and geometrical designs. Now children, if you will be able to see, just see two bands written in Arabic language on the Qutub Minar. Now see. Now these surfaces, which are surface of a minar, is curved and angular, children, and placing an inscription on such a surface requires a great experience. Fine. So only an expert can do this. Only the most skilled craft persons can perform this task. Obviously, who's an expert in this? Now, children, you have to remember that very few buildings were made by stone and brick around 800 years ago. So, what would have been the impact of building like Qutub Minar when it was observed in the 13th century? In that time, such a big building, such a beautiful building was constructed. If you just see figure 1, you will see the Qutub Minar is 5-storied, and it has a band of inscriptions under the first balcony. First floor was constructed by Qutbuddin Aibak, and the rest was constructed by Iltutmish in 1229. And children, over the years it got damaged by lightning, earthquakes. So it was repaired by Alauddin Khilji, Muhammad Tughlaq, Firoz Shah Tughlaq, and Ibrahim Lodi. If you talk about between 8th and the 18th centuries, kings and their officers, they built two kinds of structures. So what were those two kinds? Let's see. The first were forts, palaces, garden residences, and tombs. Fine, they were the private buildings. Fine. Now they were used by the rulers. Fine. Now, what were tombs? They were the safe, protected, and grandiose places of rest in this world and the next. So, the Mughals, they used to make different type of tombs. They were it was a sort of uh, in remember of them the tombs were made. So whoever has died or whatever, so in their remembrance these tombs were made. Fine. Now the second structures, they were meant for public activity. They were made for local people. Fine. They include the temples, the mosques, the tanks, wells, sarais. What was caravan sarai? It's sort of rest house for the people who were moving in caravans. Fine. And the bazaars were also there. Now, children, the kings, they were expected to care for their subjects. Subjects means to whom on whom they were ruling. So they have to take care of their people. Fine. Now, after that, by making structures for their use and comfort, rulers hoped to win their praise. So rulers were making these things which were used by the people for their use and comfort. So the rulers, in return, they just wanted to win the praise. Fine. They want to be praised by the people for their constructions. Now the construction activity, children, it was also carried out by other. Not only the rulers were doing this, but the others people were also doing this. And who were those others? They were the merchants. Now the merchants, they built temples, mosques, and wells. So they also built some structures. Fine. Now after that, however, Domestic architecture like mansions, havelis of merchants made them. They haven't survived for long, so they survived only till the 18th century. Now, children, just see uh, when labor for Agra fort, when Akbar in the Agra fort, he required 2,000 stone cutters, 2,000 cement and lime makers, and 8,000 laborers. So, such grand buildings, they required a lot of labor and lot of capital as well. Engineering works, engineering skills, and construction. Now, children, the monuments they show us different technologies which were used during the construction. Now, if take something like a roof, if we will talk about, I will take the example of roof. We can make this by placing wooden beams or the slab of a stone across four walls, so we can make it. If you want to make a roof, you can easily make it by making four walls and just place wooden beams or anything on it, or a slab of stone on it. The roof can be made, but the task was, it became very difficult if we wanted to make a large room on elaborate superstructure. So what is a superstructure? It's a part of a building above the ground floor. So above the ground floor, if we are making the building, so that is a superstructure. So simple method cannot be used to make superstructure because they required more skills. We cannot simply just make a superstructure. So you can just see all the monuments. They are still like that only. Why? Because they were made with very good material. Fine. Now, children, just see between the 7th and the 10th centuries, architects they started adding more rooms, more doors and windows in the building. So roofs, doors and windows were still they were still made by placing a horizontal beam across two vertical lines. So they were just having two vertical columns, and they were just putting horizontal beam on them, and this type of architecture was known as trabeate, fine, or the corbelled. Now, between the 8th and the 13th century, children, the trabeate style was used in the construction of temple, mosques, tombs, and in buildings that were attached to large stepwell, bollies. So you can just see figure 2A and 2B. Now 2A, it shows the Quwat Al Aslam Mosque, which is in Delhi. So that is the Trabeate style, you can see. Then corbelled technique used in the construction of the screen. So you can see this corbelled or the Trabeate style in figure 2B also. Fine, children. Then next come the temple construction in the early 11th century. So in the early 11th century, see figure 3A, figure 4, you can see the big temples were made. So the first temple we are talking about is Kandaria Mahadeva temple, which is dedicated to Shiva, and it was constructed in 999 by the king Danga Deva. Now Danga Deva has made it. If you will, he was from the Chandela dynasty. If you see figure 3.3b, it will show you the plan of the temple, how there is an ornamented gateway which is leading to the entrance and the main hall, and that main hall is known as Mahamandapa. You have done in class 6 also. Now, where dances were performed, the image of the chief deity was kept, where they were keeping the chief deity's image in the main shrine. And what was that called? That was called the Garbhagriha. Now, this was a place of ritual worship where only the king, his immediate family, and priest gathered. Now, at this place, Garbhagriha, only the king and the family and the priest can gather. The Khajuraho complex contained royal temples where commoners were not allowed. So, in the Khajuraho temples, the common people were not allowed, they were not allowed to enter. The temples were decorated with elaborately carved sculpture. So you can see the pictures of the temple. Now come to figure 4. It show you the Raja Rajeshwara temple in Thanjavur. You have done it in the previous chapters. So it has the tallest shikara. Shikara is the top. It has the tallest shikara among temples of its time. So yeah, when it was made, it at that time the tallest shikara this temple had. So you just go through this whole details. So it had 90 ton of the top. The top of this shikara is of 90 tons. So just see how they placed it. Now there were two technologies and stylistical developments at that time. Fine. Noticeably in the 12th century. We are talking about 12th century, and there were two types of technologies and stylistical developments. First, now what was first? The weight of the superstructure above the door and the window was sometime carried by arcs. You can see the figure 5a. In 5a you can see how the on the arcs the weight is there. Okay. Now see, now, this type of architectural structure, architectural form, it was known as arcuate. Fine. So just see figure 2.AB and just see figure 5A and 5B. 5B is also, it is a true arc detail of Alai Darwaza, which is in Kawat Al Aslam Mosque in Delhi. So you can just see it. Number two, what was the next thing which they were doing? First was they were putting the weight of the superstructure above the door windows, they were making the arcs. Fine. Second thing, children, they were using limestone cement. They started using this increasingly, they were using it in the construction, and this was of very high quality. This cement was very high quality, and it was mixed with the stone chips. You know the stone chips. So it was mixed with that, and it made a very hard concrete. So it just made the construction of large structure easier also and faster also. Just see figure 6. Now a painting which shows that it is from the Akbarnama. It is showing the construction of water gate at the Agra fort. How the labor, they are just putting the concrete there. Fine. Now, children, the next topic is buildings, temple, mosque, and tombs. Fine. Now, see why temples were made. We have discussed it previously also. Now, temples and mosques, they were the beautifully constructed places, and they were the places for worship, children. You all know. And the one more thing is behind that, making a temple. One other reason was that they wanted to demonstrate their power, their wealth, and they want to show their devotion to the god. So if we talk about masjids, if we talk about temples, the rulers were making it to show. First is the place of worship, and the second main reason was this also, they wanted to show their power, wealth, and devotion. Now, if you take example of Raja Rajeshwara temple, the inscriptions shows that it was built by King Rajadeva for the worship of the ruler, and the god were very similar. Now the inscription shows that he used to think that he was comparing himself to the god. He was just telling that I am just similar to god. The king took the god's name, and because it was auspicious and he wanted to appear like a god, he just wanted to appear like a god. He used to say that I am just like the god. Through the rituals of worship in the temple, one god, Raja Rajadeva, honored another, that is Raja Rajeshwaram. So the rituals were also like that way, that one god is honoring the another god. Fine. The largest temples were all constructed by kings. Obviously kings were making them. The lesser deities in the temple were gods and the goddesses of the alleys and the subordinate of the ruler. Now the ruler was making the temple, putting the deities in such a way that one was a subordinate deity, means one was the main deity, and just near that main deity, they have small deities. Fine. They were the allies. The main was the king, and the rest small statues. They were the allies of the king. So the temple was miniature model of the world ruled by the king and his allies. So temple was just showing that how the world is ruled by a king and his allies. So it was made in that way. As they worshipped their deities together in the royal temples, it seemed that if they brought the just rule of the gods on earth. So they just wanted that we just want to bring the rule of God on earth, just we want to rule on it. Muslim sultans, and if now we will talk about the mosques. Fine. So mosque 10 times. So now Muslim sultans and padshahs, padshah means badshah, they did not claim to be the incarnation of God. They said, we are not God, but they said, but Persian court chronicler described that the Sultan used to say that we are the shadow of God. Means straight away they are not saying, but indirectly they want to say that we are also God. So they used to say that we are the shadow of God. An inscription in Quat al Asnam Mosque, it explained that God chose Alauddin. Now Alauddin was chosen by the God as a king because he is having qualities. What type of qualities? Moses and Solomon. They were the great lawgivers of the past. So he says that the God has said that this Alauddin, he had the qualities of Moses and Solomon. They were the lawgivers of the past, and that's why he was made king. The greatest lawgiver and architect was God Himself. Now, obviously he is comparing himself to the greatest lawgiver, and that is the God Himself. So he created the world out of chaos and introduced order and symmetry. So he just wanted to introduce order and symmetry. As each new dynasty came to power, kings wanted to emphasize their mortal right, fine, to be the rulers. Now, every ruler they had something different. Now, constructing places of worship provided rulers with a chance to proclaim their close relationship with God. Everybody wanted to just show how close their relationship is with God. Especially important in an age of rapid political change. Now they will changes were taking place rapidly. So they just wanted to show their relationship with the God. Rulers also offered patronage to be learned and pious and tried to transform their capitals and city into great cultural centers. Now these rulers they just uh, they were just saying that we are learned people, we are pious. Pious means very pure, and they just wanted to transform their capital and cities into great cultural centers. They wanted to make their cities great cultural temples, and that brought fame to the rule and their realms. So they wanted that they should change into great commercial center, and obviously the fame will come to the ruler itself. Fine. Now it was widely believed that the rule of a just king would be an age of plenty when heavens would not withhold rain. Now, rule of just king means that the king which is having everything in abundance, which is not having any scarcity. Fine. Now, at the same time, making precious water available by constructing tanks and reservoirs was highly praised. So people were praising the kings and the rulers who were making tanks and who were providing water to the people, which was very precious in the form of tanks and reservoirs. So people were really liking those rulers. So Sultan Iltutmish won universal respect for constructing a large reservoir outside the Delhi Khana. Now, just consult page number, just map number 1, children. So, in that map, you will just see that Delhi Khana, it was made by Iltutmish, and he got a universal respect for this. Everybody praised him that he had made a large reservoir outside Delhi Khana, and it was also called Hauze Sultani. The other name was Hauze Sultani, and it was also known as King's Reservoir. Just take the help of map 1 children in chapter number 3. Now, rulers they often constructed tanks and reservoirs that can be big or small for the ordinary people. So, the ordinary people they were using these sort of tanks and reservoirs, and that's why they were praising their rulers. Fine, children. Sometimes the tanks and reservoirs were part of a temple, mosque. Fine, it is in Jami Masjid also, and they were the part of some temples as well as the mosque. You can just see figure 7 there, they have a small tank that is in the Jami Masjid, and in the figure 8, you can see how a Gurdwara, a place of worship which is having a holy sarovar. So, you might have seen sarovars in every Gurdwara, so they were just for the use of people that time. So, this was all about the topic, children. Thank you and have a nice day.